Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. On behalf of your Baird financial advisor, I'm excited to welcome you to this month's Baird Wealth Strategies webinar. Our topic today will focus on a 360 view of 360 Wealth. We're very fortunate to be joined by two members of Baird's Technology Solutions team, Andy Krogstad and Michelle Dowling. Today, we're going to have a great discussion with an overview of BairdOnline and 360 Wealth, exploring key features and functionality available to you through this online platform. For those not familiar with Andy, he graduated with a Bachelor of Letters in Sciences with a focus in organizational and professional communication from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee in 2010. Andy currently holds his FINRA Series 6 and Series 7 and has been in the financial services industry for more than 10 years, and we're lucky that 6 of those years have been here at Baird. For those not familiar with Michelle, she joined Baird after more than a decade in the industry with previous experience at Morgan Stanley and Raymond James, and prior to transitioning to financial services, Michelle was a high school English teacher. Before I turn the call over to them, I have a few housekeeping items I'd like to highlight. For optimal viewing, we suggest setting your layout to the side-by-side view via the circle in the upper right corner. All participants are in a listen-only mode, but we'd love to hear from you. And when we host a Q&A session at the end of the call to address as many questions as time permits, and you can submit a question by clicking on the Q&A icon. Please be sure to address your questions to all panelists. This presentation is being recorded and will be available along with the slide deck through your Baird financial advisor about a week following today's call. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll now turn the call over to Andy and Michelle. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bailey. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on what part of the country you're dialing in from today. My name is Andy Krogstad. I manage our technology solutions team here at Baird, joined by my colleague, Michelle Dowling, who's calling in from our Indianapolis, Indiana office. And today we're going to cover a lot of the key features and functionality of BairdOnline and then our recently enhanced and launched mobile application. We're also going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into 360 Wealth and the planning tab. So we'll look at navigating 360 Wealth, some key features and functionality within that platform. And at the end, just give you some resources, our BairdOnline support desk that you can take advantage of, give you their contact information at the end. And as Bailey mentioned, use that Q&A feature in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. If you have any questions along the way, we'll get to as many of those as possible at the end of the presentation. And if we're not able to get to you, we'll circle back to you through your financial advising team after the call. But with that, we'll start with BairdOnline and then our new mobile app. So I want to kind of start here. This is a really exciting update for us that launched last fall, giving you all the great features and functionality of BairdOnline, but on your mobile device. So that's available for both Apple, so your iOS devices, as well as Android devices. If you haven't downloaded the new app, highly recommend you do so. Go to your App Store, go to your Play Store. You'll see what the logo looks like on screen here and download that application. It's going to give you access to a lot of great features like Face ID, Touch ID, so you don't have to try to remember what your username or password was to log into the application. You're also able to see your homepage, your portfolio information, account level information, give you key updates through the app as well. So these are kind of screenshots, like as you scroll down on that first page, these are the different items that you'll see, the quick action buttons in the lower at the bottom of the screen for scanning documents, adding accounts to 360 Wealth. We're going to touch on these throughout the presentation, but just wanted to give you some screenshots of what the new app looks like if you haven't downloaded it yet, getting portfolio value over time, performance, asset allocation, activity information. When we talk about 360 Wealth, giving you a net worth view based on the accounts that you've linked externally, including your Baird accounts, cash flow information. It's really easy to add new accounts through that process as well. For those of you that have gone through the planning process with your financial advising team, you're able to get those key insights right through the app as well. Market data, research, another benefit of being a Baird client. We've got a ton of great research that you have access to, as well as setting up things like e-delivery, accessing documents, statements, things of that nature. So we're going to touch on these as we go through. So we're going to focus primarily on the BairdOnline website, which is bol.rwbaird.com. If you want to log in either through the app or log in through the website and kind of click along with us today, highly recommend doing so. But we're going to show you kind of where something is in the online platform and then where to find the equivalent piece of information through the new mobile app. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Michelle, who's going to start with the My Portfolio tab.
Thanks, Andy. As Andy mentioned, we're not going to be able to show you every tab within BairdOnline 360 Wealth, but I absolutely want to show you some features that I hope you haven't seen before. Hopefully everybody gains new information from this presentation. So we start out with our landing page, My Portfolio at a Glance. You'll notice you have the ability on this page to go ahead and select any account, but notice all accounts are selected. So currently it's showing this portfolio value is roughly 1.6 million. You'll notice as you scroll down onto those day mover tabs, those are interactive. So anytime you hover over one of them, additional information pops up. So here you'll see that this particular portfolio holds 118 shares, and it will show you the day change as you move through. Scrolling down about the middle of this page, you'll notice a chart that shows portfolio value. You have the ability to select the timeline that you choose. Notice you can go back 1 month. We're looking at 18 months. And if we hover over this, you'll notice we have the ability to select any day just by hovering with our mouse and seeing the portfolio value. Likewise, if you go into the mobile app, you can see the same graph there, and you just simply use your finger as your mouse to hover and find the daily value or the portfolio value for any day. The bottom of this page shows your asset allocation, again, an interactive area. Notice that we have this at asset category, which is the widest view. If we click on that asset category drop down there in the upper right, we can change this to asset class. So instead of just showing our broader categories of equity, fixed income, it's going to drop us down into those shares. So we'll see equities, large cap, international. You notice here our net international equity shows 6.73%. Again, an interactive pie chart there on the left. If you hover over any of those slices, it will show you what positions make up that particular asset class.
Yeah, Michelle, and you pointed out, if you take a look at the app in the lower right-hand corner, you can get that same information. You can toggle between those different views. So really giving you the flexibility, depending on how you like to see and view the information, whether that's at that broader classification or the more detailed side, you can get the information the way that you want to see it.
Also on this page, and many of our pages throughout BairdOnline, you'll notice that all accounts selected drop down. Now you can choose to show all of your accounts, you can choose one individual account, or you can select a group. So if you'd like to see a group of accounts, such as just your accounts, or maybe all of the retirement accounts, click on that pencil icon. It will allow you then to create a group. Once you select create a group, you can choose which accounts you'd like to include in the group, give it a name, and click on that green create group. And now, every time you go into a page where you have an option to choose a particular account, any groups you've created will show there at the bottom.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Michelle. And again, that's also available through the app. So if you are looking on the mobile side, you can create those groups, edit those groups through that feature as well. Another option under that My Portfolio, so we're in that My Portfolio tab in the upper left-hand corner, and then in that right-hand side of that underlying blue ribbon is the Performance tab. So if you're looking to stay connected with just how your portfolio is performing, this is a great place to go. So again, Michelle just mentioned you can look at one account at a time, you can look at all of your accounts together, or you can create those custom groups to look at the accounts that you want to see on this page. You can also control the time period. So performance can either be as of previous month end and or last business day. So if you want to see how your portfolio is doing as of yesterday, you can do that through BairdOnline as well as through the mobile app as well. And then as you scroll down on screen, you're going to see key information about those accounts that you have selected. So year to date, 1, 3, 5, since start date performance with a portfolio total down at the bottom. Michelle, you want to take the Positions tab?
I will. So our next tab within BairdOnline is Account Details. You'll notice we have a number of sub-tabs. So if you're looking for your activity, gain and loss, you'll find those under Account Details. I want to focus on this positions page. You'll notice again, we have that ability to choose which accounts we'd like to view. And as we go through this, we can choose a particular account. We can choose one of those groupings. We also can filter by asset class, asset types. So possibly you're looking for a view of just your alternatives, just your fixed income, such as bonds, CDs. You can choose that. Now, down below, we can actually choose asset view, and that will allow the program to classify our assets accordingly. Here, you'll notice we're looking at equities at the top, so it's grouped our equities together. One thing you may not be aware of, even if you're a Baird user for many years, is you can click on that plus icon next to any position, and it's going to show you your accounts which hold that particular position. Likewise, when you click on that green button there on the left-hand side, that's going to give you additional information about this position. You can go into research from here. It's a quick link into charts. But my favorite page here within Positions View is this My Positions Zoom. When you click on that, it's going to give you information about that position in your portfolio. So here you can see this particular portfolio owns 1,248 shares. It shows the day change. You've got gain and loss information, everything specific to your holding.
Yeah, Michelle, and I think this is just a great example, and what we're trying to show today is if you like to just log in and get that high level information, maybe your portfolio value and your account balances, and then log out, great. You can get that information either on the mobile side, on the main landing page, or at that portfolio at a glance page. Or if you're someone that likes to get a little bit more detailed, kind of get into those nitty gritty things on positions, this is a really great option that you have that you can take advantage of. So moving on to investing tools. So we kind of moved into that middle tab at the top of your screen. And one of the big benefits of being a client at Baird is you get access to all the great research that our research departments are putting together. So if this is something, again, that if you like to get into that research side, maybe take a look at how the markets are doing or get some research on an individual security, you can enter a particular ticker symbol. In this example, I've entered Apple. And then below, I'm going to get all the different headlines that are available from our Baird research teams. If you go ahead and click on that headline, you're going to get that research report that our analysts put together. You can also see on the mobile side, you can get access to those same documents through the mobile application. So if you are someone that likes to look into that research side, this is a really great option that you have as a client of Baird.
I'm going to talk about account services and in particular account access. So a common question we get is, how do I share access with my spouse or maybe one of my adult children? Under account services, you'll notice we have the account access tab. Very quick and simple to set up. Simply click on that share account viewing, and it's 4 steps. You'll just go in, enter the email address of the Baird user that you would like to share information with. Click next. It's going to ask you to select the accounts you'd like to share. Here you'll notice Karen is sharing her accounts. We select which accounts, just verify those in step 3 of 4 and click on that green send email button. You'll receive a confirmation that another BairdOnline user has been allowed access, and they will receive an email saying that you have granted them access to your accounts.
Yeah, Michelle, this is a really great option. If I use myself as an example, I've got my accounts that I'm the primary owner of. My wife, she's got her IRA accounts that she's the primary owner of. We each have our own BairdOnline login. So when we each log in, we want to be able to see each other's information. This account access feature makes it really easy for us to just share those accounts with each other. So when she logs in using her login information, she sees the accounts that she's the owner of, and then she also sees the accounts that I've shared with her, and vice versa. She logs in, she sees my accounts and her accounts as well. So just a really quick and easy way to be able to share those accounts between other individuals that you need to share access with. Again, that's just a read-only access, so this doesn't give them the ability to update e-delivery preferences or things of that nature, but gives them read-only access to what they see when they log into their website. Another really great feature, I wish I could kind of see everyone because I'd ask you to raise your hand of how many of you know what your account numbers are. If you're like me, I have no idea what my account numbers are. And so a feature you can really take advantage of under account services is giving your accounts a friendly name or a nickname. This way, as you navigate to the different tabs, either on BairdOnline or on the mobile app, you see that friendly name that you've given so that you know exactly what account you're looking at any time as you're navigating through the site. So in this example, I've got 3 accounts. I labeled them John's IRA, John Individual, and Karen IRA. So now as I'm navigating, I'm going to quickly know exactly what account I'm looking at, especially if you have accounts that have very similar balances. It may be a little tough to identify, oh, is it this account? Is it that account? Putting that friendly name on there is going to be a really easy way for you to know exactly what you're looking at any point in time.
All right, I'm going to talk to you about how to set up your e-delivery preferences. So obviously, we would like to cut down on paper mailings, so we encourage you to go out and confirm your e-delivery preferences. Many of you likely set those up when you first enrolled in BairdOnline, but again, under that account services tab, you can go in there, confirm or change your preferences as needed. Notice you can select to go paperless on statements, confirms, client communications, and new within the past year tax documents. So virtually all, you can go paperless for all of your accounts, all of your communications. You will receive limited mail paper. So my recommendation is if you have the ability to do that, check that box in the corner, all paperless, all accounts. We'd love to have you help us save a few trees out there.
Yeah, Michelle, kind of a fun fact is on an annual basis, we print enough statements and mail them that stack end to end would go from Seattle to Key West, Florida. So stretch kind of the 2 furthest points in the country away from each other. So if you find you're getting something in the mail and it immediately goes in the recycle bin, things of that nature, anytime we can sign up for e-delivery, I think that's just a really great option. Obviously, if you need paper, don't hesitate, get that paper, whether it's a tax document or statement. If you need it via paper, go ahead and do that. But if you find you're just throwing it in the recycle bin right away or not actually using it or referencing it, the online is a really great option. And so the natural question is,
quick question for you, Andy. When I do want to see my documents, where can I go to find those?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Michelle. So if you say, okay, I don't need paper, where do I actually get those? Well, whether you're on BairdOnline, the website, or the mobile app, the Documents tab is going to be that one-stop shop to get all of those different types of communication. So you can see on screen here, I'm under the Documents tab. I can get my statements, my confirms, my client communications, my tax forms. For those of you, again, that have had a financial plan run, you can get a copy of that financial plan on the website. For those of you that write checks out of your Baird account, you can get images of those checks. And these are the same information that you can get in the mobile app under that More button in the lower right-hand corner. But a really great feature some of you may have used in the past. If you haven't, think about maybe some opportunities you've got coming up the next time you need to send a document, especially if you want to make sure that it's sent securely and encrypted. We have a really great document exchange feature online. This allows you to take a document, maybe think of like a big trust document or something like that, that maybe struggles in secure email. Document Exchange allows you to upload that file. So when you click on Document Exchange, you're going to click on the green button to upload a file. And this is one feature, and this ties into a question I did see come in early. One feature that we have on the mobile side is being able to actually just use your camera on your phone and take a picture and scan a document to upload it into the mobile Document Exchange. Where on the computer, you're going to upload the file, and you can either drag and drop or browse your files to find the document that you want to exchange. Either way, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to upload that. The second you hit upload and send, your financial advising team is going to get an email, and it's going to say, hey, your client just shared a document with you. They can go out and retrieve that. And then it works the other way too. If we ever need to send you something, especially if it needs to be done securely, your financial advisor or your team, they can upload a document to you. You immediately get an email saying your advising team just shared a document with you, and you can go out and retrieve that at your convenience. It's available for 90 days out on the website. Just a really nice, safe alternative than sending emails back and forth, especially if you've got sensitive and secure information. We always want to ensure that your information stays your information. And this is a great option where email, if you forget to hit send secure or something like that, this is just a nice foolproof method.
All right, I'm going to talk about settings, and I love it. Many of you are putting questions out in our Q&A, and one of them that has come in is, how do I set my preferred start page? So under your settings tab is where you can select preferred start page. Notice you can come in here, see your password, user ID, any contact information for you, but this preferred start page allows you to go in and select virtually any page within BairdOnline as the place where you will land when you log in. So commonly people are setting theirs at portfolio at a glance. You'll remember as we walk through that tab, it really is a summary of much of the other information within account details, research, account services. Another popular one is asset allocation. Maybe you'd like to set activity or balances. Come in here, set your preferred start page. It makes it much nicer when you come in. Everything that you're looking for is right there available as soon as you log in.
Yeah, Michelle, the easiest way I like to think about it is every time you log in, if you click to a particular tab in a page, good chance you'll want to set that as your preferred start page, so it saves you those 2 clicks right off the bat after you've entered your username and your password. So now we're going to move into a really key feature of the BairdOnline platform, which is going to be the tab on the far right-hand side when you log in, or on the mobile app, it'll be the button kind of down in the bottom middle of your screen, which is 360 Wealth and Planning. So what is 360 Wealth? 360 Wealth is our account aggregation tool, which allows you on BairdOnline to link outside institutions. So if you've got a 401k, if you've got a checking account, any sort of external account that you want to link, it allows you to use your username and password for that institution. It'll then link that account. So when you log into BairdOnline, under that 360 Wealth and Planning tab, you're able to see not only your Baird accounts, but all of those institutions and accounts that you've linked as well. So currently we work with over 15,000 institutions. So there's a good chance your institution is available. If by chance you have an institution that you're not finding when you're going to add an account, you can always get in touch with us and we can work to get those institutions added as well. And so each time you log in, the tool is going to go out, log into that institution, grab the information, and display it on your BairdOnline. Now, one question I did see come in, and this is a very common question that we get from clients or even myself as I experience, these third-party institutions have security policies in place, which may ask you to re-authenticate the account, which usually consists of re-entering your username, your password, or potentially them texting you one of those 6-digit codes for you to verify. That is 100% normal expectation when it comes to account aggregation tools. Now, we also have a new feature that's been rolling out over the last 16, 18 months or so, which is called Direct Connect. So we've got 13 institutions on there today, which once you establish that connection, the connection stays constant. Meaning unless you at that institution change your username or your password, that account should be continuously connected, preventing the need to re-authenticate the account. Chase was one of the very first institutions that went live on May 25th of 2021. Lucky me, I had a Chase account. And so when I actually linked it, that account has never asked me to re-authenticate. So from May 25th of 2021 through today, that account is the first to update. It's automatically up to date. I don't have to re-authenticate. But just know those other institutions that aren't on that Direct Connect yet, we're continuing to add more every year. One actually just went live, Navy Federal Credit Union just went live 2 weeks ago. It's going to continue to roll out across various institutions. So just know that the re-authentication piece is 100% normal, but we do have some technologies and things coming that'll reduce the amount of times that you would need to re-authenticate. And then just with that, at Baird, security is a top priority. So a couple of things to note when it comes to 360 Wealth, because we get these questions a lot from clients, which is your information is always encrypted and secure. No individual has access to those username or passwords. And we do really pride ourselves on using best-in-class industry principles for privacy and security. If you do have any questions on this, you can always reach out to our BairdOnline team, reach out to your financial advising team for more information. Or we do have a lot of great information out on rwbaird.com as well. With that, Michelle, why don't you walk us through how you add an account to 360 Wealth?
Great, thanks, Andy. So common question we receive from our BairdOnline users, how do I enroll in 360 Wealth? Well, the good news is if you're already using BairdOnline, the heavy lifting is done. All you need to do is click on that 360 Wealth and Planning tab. Notice that we have quite a few of common institutions listed there on the front page, but if you don't see your financial institution, just click there into that search box and go ahead and start typing your institution. As Andy pointed out, we have 15,000 institutions out there, so even the most local of credit unions will likely be linked with 360 Wealth. Once you click on that, you will have the ability to enter your username and your password. Again, you'll notice that I have information here about Safe Credit Union. So we're linking directly into Safe Credit Union. Your password and your username are not stored at Baird in any way. This is completely secure. Go ahead, click submit. And once you do that, it's going to pull up your account information. You can choose which of your accounts you would like to include or include them all. Click save and finish, and it will just take a few moments. That information will flow in and your 360 Wealth area will start to be active.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Michelle. I'll just hop in here for a second because one of the questions again was what is available on the mobile app that's not necessarily available on the website. And so if any of you use like a password saver on your smart device, that allows you to use your Face ID or your Touch ID to actually autofill usernames and passwords for those third-party institutions. So when it comes to either registering the account for the first time or those institutions that are asking you to re-authenticate, it makes it really seamless because you just click in the username, it autofills the username and password using your Face ID. It goes and reconnects and you're kind of off and running versus having to type in the username and password with that third-party institution. So for those of you that use one of those password savers on your mobile device, keep an eye out for that. That's a really nice feature on the mobile side where it may not be available depending on how you use your password saver on an actual website.
Another thing you should be aware of is to begin using 360 Wealth, you don't need to link a financial institution through the web. You can actually go in here and manually add real estate or any other type of asset. Maybe you have a car collection or a piece of art that's particularly valuable. You can go ahead and add those. A best practice is to add real estate because for most of us, our home is one of our largest assets. So when you click on that add real estate, it will ask you to enter your address. We use something known as SmartZip. It's similar to Zillow. It will approximate how much your real estate is worth. You can either use that value or you can manually override that and enter your own value of the real estate.
Yeah, Michelle, the nice thing about adding in your address is it'll actually track the value fluctuation over time as well. So a really nice feature to add if you haven't linked a home or maybe another property that you have, just so that when you're looking at a total net worth statement, those can all be included. So once you've linked that first account, it's going to take you to the landing page. So this is where, and I'm going to kind of scroll down screen here. So when you first click on it, it's going to give you that net worth statement. Again, that's going to be inclusive of your Baird account, as well as any of those external accounts or manually entered accounts or properties that you've entered. As you scroll down, you're going to get your asset allocation. So the benefit of this is you're not just seeing, we touched on asset allocation earlier. You're not just looking at what is here at Baird, but how does that overall play into what you have? So if you've got a large cash position, you'll want to take that into consideration with your overall net worth and portfolio. Just a really nice way to see it all in one place. Also, as we get to some of these tabs as we move forward on the spending side, if you're linking accounts where you have these transactions taking place, it can actually categorize those. So how much am I spending and home expenses, food expense? I know the first time I linked my checking account through 360 Wealth and a credit card, I found out my wife and I, we eat out at restaurants way more than I thought that we did because that number was higher than I was expecting because we had never really looked at it all in one place. A lot of people might use an Excel spreadsheet and try to manually calculate what their spending is. As you move further down, if you've taken advantage of the budget feature, you can actually say, here's how much I'm allocating to spend across these various buckets on a month-over-month basis. And then as you're having those transactions take place, know how much you've spent versus what you've allocated. And then looking at just total cash flow, so money in versus money out over time. Just some really nice features to be able to see all in one place versus having to log into multiple institutions and then trying to cobble together numbers from those different areas.
All right, I'm going to talk about your transactions tab. So everything that we've shown you so far in BairdOnline in 360 Wealth is available for your financial team to view. It's available for the BairdOnline desk to help with. So if you have any questions about these tabs, please reach out to us. We can help you with that information. We can see exactly what you're looking at. The exception is the transactions tab, and that's by design. So your transactions are yours and yours alone. We don't have a transactions tab on our view. We can't see those. And again, I make this joke. Sorry, I know Andy has heard this before, but it's because I don't want my financial advising team to know how many times I went through the drive-through last week, right? So my transactions don't show up out here. For you within the transactions tab, you'll notice those similar features we've been seeing. You have the ability to create groups and filter by different accounts, all accounts, individual accounts, or your groups. You can change the time frame for when you want to look at your transactions. But one of the most important features out here is this all categories. So if you click on that all categories, it will give you a list of categories that 360 Wealth categorizes. And so you'll notice here, I've checked home improvement. What that does is that allows me to see any spending or income that I've received regarding home improvement. Here you can see anytime I go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware. 360 Wealth is good at categorizing information, and it will lump those together. So now I can see anything that I've spent from my Baird accounts. I can see anything from my Chase account, anything from my credit cards. Those will all be lumped into that categorization as long as I've linked them in 360 Wealth.
Yeah, Michelle, you just hit on the big benefit is seeing all of those different buckets that those funds could be coming from, seeing it all in one place under one category versus trying to cobble that information together. Like I said, in Excel, I think is a common one we've probably all done at some point in our lifetime as we try to get an idea of what are we spending versus what's coming in and where are those buckets being spent. So really powerful to be able to see all of that information at your fingertips in one place. The spending tab is going to give you kind of that culmination of all of those things. So it's really broken out into 4 different underlying tabs. So the first one is expenses. So money going out or money being spent. Based on the accounts that you've linked, this is going to give you that month over month breakdown. And kind of as you scroll down on screen, you're going to actually see for a particular month, like what are those top expenses that have happened over the course of that month. And then from the time you link your first 360 Wealth account, it's able to accumulate and track that over time. So the longer you have information linked, the more of that history is just going to continue to accumulate over time. Then you can tab over to the income side. So where's money coming in and how much is that on a month over month basis? And then net cash flow is just really a culmination of both of those things based on what's going out versus what's coming in. What does my cash flow look like based on the accounts that I'm including from a cash flow perspective? So, Michelle showed earlier, you have the ability to look across all accounts, or if you have certain accounts that you just want to focus on, you can use that drop down on the left-hand side of your screen there to say, these are the accounts that I want to look at. Or if you want to look at a particular date range time period, you can change that from the drop down on screen as well. And again, lower right-hand corner, you can access the same information on the mobile side through the app. Another great feature is budget. So if, like I said, the old Excel spreadsheet, if you've set up a budget and you're trying to track that, creating a budget actually allows you to identify in particular areas, groceries, restaurants, automotive, electronics, personal family, healthcare. You can actually build out how much you'd ideally like to spend in those particular buckets. And then with the accounts that you have linked, it'll actually track, are you on track for spending that amount? Are you underspending, which is usually a good thing? Are you overspending? Like I said, my wife and I found our restaurant bill was a little bit higher than what we were anticipating, but it can help you then make decisions on your personal finances based on seeing all the information in one place, especially if it's being spent across multiple credit cards, multiple people in a relationship. It's really cool to kind of be able to see everything in one spot. So if you haven't taken a look at that, again, that's under the spending tab and then under the budget feature. When it comes to just using 360 Wealth, you'll notice on just about every page, you've got the little question mark with feature tour. This is going to give you kind of an on-screen walkthrough of what you're seeing and what those different features are. Again, you can always call our BairdOnline service desk. You'll see that number here coming up at the end of the presentation. But this is just a great way to say, okay, what is this piece doing for me, and give you key information about what you're seeing on screen.
Quickly, I'm going to go through 360 Wealth settings. Now, I love it because there's already been questions submitted. How do I categorize things? So categorization happens regularly. It's 360 Wealth is very good at categorizing, but sometimes, frankly, there are just things that it doesn't recognize. You can go in and create your own categorization by clicking on Create Rule. So here's a real world sample of a client I helped. He actually had his Social Security deposit coming in, and it was labeled FDIC insurance. So every month this would get categorized by the system as insurance, but it was really a deposit. So we simply went in there and created a rule that said every time this deposit happens for FDIC insurance, it should be labeled deposits. There in the lower left corner, you'll notice you can apply this rule to past transactions. So we didn't have to go through and clean up the 14 months of previous deposits. We simply check that box and it will go through and change those from insurance to deposits in all of his previous transactions.
Yeah, Michelle, you hit on it. If you think about it, there's millions of different transaction types, different institutions, types of companies that you could have a transaction coming through. And Michelle said it, 360 Wealth does a darn good job of getting it right the first time. But if you ever want to override what 360 Wealth is categorizing a particular transaction or types of transactions, you can always create these rules, and that'll clean it up in the past transactions that have already taken place and any future transaction that meets your criteria going forward. So just a really nice feature. Don't feel like you have to sit there and do every single one at a time. Using these rules is a really great way to make sure your information is getting categorized the way you want that information to be categorized. Kind of coming up toward the end here, so just touching on the planning tab. Many of you, like I said, may have gone through the planning experience with your financial advisor and your team. If you haven't, this planning tab allows you to notify your team of like what things are important to you, what things are going on in your financial life that your financial advising team can help you with. There's also this great insights and education link, which will take you out to rwbaird.com and just give you more information about Baird and big believers in the planning process and how that can help you make the best long-term financial decisions for you. So take advantage of that. Again, you can do the same thing through the app where you can say, here's some key areas that are important to me. Let's have a conversation. For those of you that have had a plan done, you're able to information about that plan. So are you on track to meet those financial needs, wants, and wishes that would all be done going through that planning process? So the success meter, that's one of the first things, if you do have a plan, that you'll see when you log into the mobile app as well. And you can also, under that 360 tab, which is that middle button at the bottom of your screen, you can tab over to the planning side to get this key information as well. You can also get a PDF copy of that actual plan. So in the upper right-hand side, you can click View Financial Plan, or in the app under the Documents section, you can access it there as well. But if you have any questions on this, again, don't hesitate to reach out to your financial advisor or your team, and they'll be able to assist you going forward. So I know we covered a lot of information. I think I see several questions coming in, so we're going to take some time to go through those and answer as many as we can. But wanted to just leave this page on screen so that you can jot down the telephone number, the email address. That boldemo.rwbaird.com is a public website that any of you can go to, and we've got a lot of great like feature tour walkthroughs, some short videos, descriptions of every single feature of BairdOnline. So it's just a really nice resource that you have at your fingertips, as well as just other key information on rwbaird.com. But Michelle, I know you've been kind of perusing the inbox here of questions. Why don't you go ahead and grab the first one, and I'll tee up another one afterwards.
I do have one, Andy. So somebody asked, can I link my credit card through 360 Wealth? So just yes, the answer is yes. I just want to confirm that it's not limited to asset accounts. If you can log into your financial institution, whether it's your checking and savings accounts. It could be a credit card. It could be your mortgage, student loans, anything that you're logging in and looking at those balances can likely be linked into 360 Wealth. So obviously this is designed to give you your overall net worth, not just your Baird accounts, but any other assets and liabilities that you have out there. And don't forget that if you cannot link something in, you can always manually add information as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Michelle. I also want to just round out the question on what capabilities are on the mobile side that aren't available on the web. So these aren't live just yet today, but we're hopeful by the end of this year, these will be live. So the first is remote check deposit. So being able on your smart device to be able to take a picture of a check and get that deposited into your Baird accounts should be coming a little later this year, as well as if you have banking ACH instructions, being able to ACH money into your accounts here at Baird as well. So just making that process easier versus having to mail a check or bring a check potentially into a branch, just be able to take a picture of it or use your linked banking instructions to be able to deposit funds. So that's a really exciting feature that should be live again later this year, which will be available on the mobile device, especially that remote check deposit piece, because you'll need to be able to take a picture of that check. Michelle, what are some other questions you're seeing coming through?
So Andy, something has come through. In fact, I think multiple users have asked about international financial institutions. Are those available to be linked through 360 Wealth?
I'm sorry, Michelle, your audio cut out there for a second. What type of institutions?
International, so outside of the United States.
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to off the top of my head. I know you can link institutions like RBC, things of that nature, which are technically, I think, international institutions that do business in the United States, but just a truly international company. I'd have to double check on. But in that search box, if you do type the name of an institution, like I said, if it doesn't show up, that means that that site is not available. Get in touch with us or get in touch with your financial advisor and let us know, because we can work to potentially get those institutions added going forward. So if you're not seeing that site when you first are searching, then it's just currently not available, but we can hopefully work to get that added long term.
I think most everything has been covered else throughout the call, Andy. Just a question about how to set up that landing page, couple questions about the mobile app.
Yeah, Michelle, I actually do have a question that I see in here. So it's around two-factor authentication. So we do have today two-factor authentication. For those of you not familiar with what that means, it's when you go to log in and then it wants to text you a code or send you an email of a code, things of that nature, to formally log in. So we do have two-factor authentication today, but our technology tries to identify, are you logging in from a device that's known, a consistent website? So really, we try to make that process as minimal as possible, meaning if it recognizes that a login is trying to take place on a device that you haven't logged in before, that'll trigger that two-factor authentication. If it's two-factor authentication, I'm sorry, my voice is a little scratchy here. Bear with me 1 second. When you've got 3 kids under 4 years old, there's always something going around. But if you would like two-factor authentication all of the time, reach out to our BairdOnline service desk and we can activate that for you.
So questions come in. What is the difference between net worth and total investments? So your total investments are going to be your true investment accounts. Those are largely assets. Net worth, of course, is the difference between your assets and liabilities. So assets minus liabilities is net worth. In 360 Wealth, you are seeing your net worth. The more it will become more accurate as you add those liabilities in. So assets are commonly in there. We tend not to add smaller liabilities, but if you do add those, even manually, those will show up and make your net worth more accurate.
Another important question, does Baird share transaction and spending data with third parties? The answer is no. Like Michelle said, that is truly your information. We don't share that information internally with Baird individuals or third parties.
Andy, I think we've answered just about everything that's come in. If you have a question, please do submit through Q&A. We'd like to address anything we can on this call. If we didn't address a question that you sent in, it's likely just because it might have some personal information. Feel free to reach out to the BairdOnline team for any additional questions. And of course, we will have a recording available of this call if you'd like to come back in and review again.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Andy and Michelle. Really appreciate the candor and comments and all of the questions that were submitted today. So hope everyone found this information impactful and just a good use of your time. As we mentioned at the top of the call, and as Michelle just said, if you're interested in reviewing today's presentation or looking to share it with a friend, family member, colleague, we did record this session and it will be made available in approximately a week through your Baird financial advisor. Please reach out to your Baird contact if we weren't able to address your question or if you wanted additional information, and they'd be happy to connect you with the appropriate resource to get your question answered. And then next month, we'll be hosting a webinar on March 16th on the topic of equity compensation. So look for that invite, should be coming soon. And thank you, everyone, and hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks.